could consume me, please consume me in the fire of your love. The fire of your love could consume me, please consume me in the fire of your love. The depth of your love could drown me, please drown me in the depths of your love. The depth of your love could drown me, please drown me in the depths of your love. I'm falling into grace, this vast, holy, sacred place, like a pencil mark I'm being erased by your love, till nothing remains. The grace of your love transforms me, please transform me through the grace of your love. The grace of your love transforms me, please transform me through the grace of your love. The presence of your love dissolves me, please dissolve me in the presence of your love. The presence of your love dissolves me, please dissolve me in the presence of your love. The presence of your love dissolves me, please dissolve me in the presence of your love. The presence of your love dissolves me, please dissolve me in the presence of your love. I'm falling into grace, this vast, holy, sacred place, like a pencil mark I'm being erased by your love, till nothing remains. I'm being erased by your love, till nothing remains, till nothing remains.
So this morning, I'm so grateful for the New Thought teachings. to be able to do the prayer, to recenter, to start over, to create a new thought. So I recognize the power and presence of God right here and right now, in this moment. And I know that this power that is God is the power of my life and every life here, every life that has ever been, every life that is ever to be is the presence of God, the one eternal life. And I'm knowing that as we are all part of this one life, we are coming together in conscious recognition of the divinity here within each one of us, and all that we're doing and creating, all that we're being, and the way that we're showing up, and the way that we're playing, and the way that we're being full out. And so I know that this service today is a part of that expression, that we are playing full out today, just celebrating the truth, the spirit, the oneness of all life. So I give thanks to be a part of it, give thanks that everyone is a part of this service, creating this special sacred space today. Everyone here and everyone who watches it, just giving thanks. And I surrender this prayer to Allah, just resting in it and giving thanks, knowing it's done already. And we can just let it be. And I seal this by saying, and so it is. Ashe.
Sada Shiva Bolo, Om Namah Shivaya. Your turn. Bolo, Bolo, Sada Shiva Bolo, Om Namah Shivaya. Bolo, Bolo, Sada Shiva Bolo, Om Namah Shivaya. Second part. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Your turn. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Bolo, Bolo, Sada Shiva Bolo, Om Namah Shivaya. Bolo, Bolo, Sada Shiva Bolo, Om Namah Shivaya. Om
And I'm not putting my shoes back on, okay? So when you enter the temple, we leave our shoes outside, so you're more than welcome to take your shoes off because we're standing here on sacred ground. I also don't like to wear shoes, but, but I do love the temple life. So we are moving into understanding this journey of the Bhagavad Gita. For the first week, we went through our inner battles, our inner conflicts. Arjuna's facing this atrocious decision to fight with his family. And Krishna brings forth that understanding of his dharma, his life purpose. And then we move through the 4 yogas, the paths to God. We move through the Raja Yoga, the meditation. We move through the Karma Yoga, the selfless service. We move through Bhakti Yoga, which we just beautifully did, which is that love and devotion of the divine. And we move through Jnana, which is the knowledge. So in this service alone, we move through those 4. When we get into that understanding that these are just different pathways to express and experience the divine. But today, and then last week, we experienced at our Easter service our divine nature, the Christ within, the beloved. So today, we're going to wake up and sing our song of God, because the Bhagavad Gita is called the Song of God. It is a potent, holy scripture in which Krishna reveals the truth of the universe to Arjuna. And we get to dance in that delight of the beloved, of the one that is our life. So we're going to wake up and we're going to understand, move through the understanding of our life as a spiritual practice. So the books that we've been using have been Ram Dass, Pathways to God, and Reverend Dr. Edward Vyohan, Bhagavad Gita for Beginners. But today I also drew from Ann Purcell, who's a transcendental meditation teacher, Let Your Soul Sing, Enlightenment for Everyone. And I came up with my title before I found her book, and I just thought that was fabulous. And then Maharishi Mahesh Yogi of the Bhagavad Gita, from which transcendental meditation, it was his life's path to bring heaven to earth through transcendental meditation. So I have my dear friend Hafiz, who reminds us of the love that is God through all of his poetry, a Sufi poet. He says, what is this precious love and laughter budding in our hearts? It is the glorious sound of a soul waking up. And it makes me cry every time I read that. It makes me cry because it's tears of joy when not only our soul awakens in this journey into remembering who we are, but to be present for those who are awakening to their soul's expression. Enlightenment is not a place. This original talk title was After Enlightenment, Then What? That was given to me. I'm like, but there's never after enlightenment. It's a constant journey. It's a constant life practice. It's a constant process that is bringing us closer to home. And home is that understanding, that awareness of the indwelling presence that is God, that infinite nature that is our life, awakening to our truth. And just like this flower in my mother's garden, as it's getting ready to bloom, you can hear the angels singing in this glorious hallelujahs of let your light shine. And that's what we're going to move through today. How our spiritual practice is our life practice in shining our light when we wake up to not only that God as us, but God as and through all of life. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 45, Maharishi says that's the chapter, that's that verse of self-realization. Transcendental meditation takes you to that place of the deep stillness, the deep silence, the deep knowingness of who you are. And it's this resolute consciousness that is the state of absolute being, which is the ultimate cause of all causes, that brings harmony to the world in the field of cause and effect and glorifies life. Glorifies life. But we're spirit in this human realm and we move through our ego. So Reverend Edwards' version of this says, Arjuna, you already know what happens when you think something over and over again. You become attached to the thing, and when you're attached to a thing, you want to possess it. And when you can't get what you desire, anger and frustrations rise, and these cloud judgment. To step back from these influences and achieve peace requires a committed spiritual practice. committed spiritual practice. We are moving through spirit as us. We don't deny our human expression. The one thing that's different about this movement, New Thought, is that we have a fundamental knowingness and understanding, or we're moving into the awareness that this is all God. This is the body of God. Heaven isn't some place where we go to whenever we transition and leave this holy temple. Heaven is here now. And how, through our spiritual practice, do we bring that forth? We don't deny the darkness. We don't hide from the challenges, but doubt will not take us to enlightenment. Anger cannot take us to enlightenment. Fear will not take us to enlightenment. All enlightenment is a spiritual awakening of the unity of life. And when we're in those emotions, no shame, no blame, but we're moving from and operating from our ego. Not that any of us do that. Certainly I don't. So said the big lie. When I have this inner struggle, I'm like Arjuna in that conflict. When I'm experiencing anger, or it's being called forth, I'm being called on my anger or the actions, I'm like, what is behind that? And in the moment, trust me, I am not claiming it. I'm not naming it. It's like this whole projection thing going on. But when I get to my spiritual practice and I start going beneath it and I start digging, just because I'm clearing it out, I get to that place that root cause was something from my past that really is the trigger. But that's based on condition. And that's based on duality. And that's based on a false notion that I'm separate, and I'm not. But I don't deny it. I must embrace the shadow. In order to be in the light, it's all God. But to move forward, I must take responsibility and accountability. And my spiritual practice is my lifeline to the one as me. My spiritual practice is what cultivates that awareness. So in Transcendental Meditation and Purcell say every day, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. And that practice allows us to move from the awakened state to the sleeping state to the dreaming state, but then to transcendent consciousness, then to God consciousness, then to that unity consciousness, which is the oneness. But then we move in this world. And sometimes when we move in this world, we fall back into that reaction. So the spiritual practice becomes our lifeline. It becomes that opportunity to tune in to the one that is within. So Ram Dass, in his book, does this beautiful walking us through that. Look at life as if you're watching TV, an old television set, and you only have 4 channels. He goes, we look at life with channel 1, which is our physical identity. It's our body, it's what we see outside, it's our habits, it's the things that we project on people, it's the physical realm. Channel 2 is our emotional identity. It's our personalities, it's the way we think, the way that we show up. Channel 3 is our astral identity. This is like our mythic lines, our mythic stories, the archetypes that express as us. He even went into astrology. So, I'm a Leo, so then people will project everything about Leos. Apparently Leos like their hair. I'm like going, whatever, you're going to start doing this. I was like, and then he goes, but if you switch that last channel, if you can flip to that last channel, that's the soul level. It's not even an identity because it's the oneness that you can see with the eyes of God as you, and you can see the divine. That we're not operating channel 1, channel 2. Sometimes we move in channel 3, we think, hey, that's kind of groovy. But channel 4 allows us to stay in the presence and see God. He says it's the soul level. What we know, it's a kingdom of consciousness 4, that as me, to wake up. Because the veils of condition can keep us in our identity. Now, don't get me wrong. This is God as individualized expressions as us fabulously. I mean, we want to be who we are, expressed fully, authentically. Oneness is not sameness, all right? But when he gets to the soul level, we're stripping away the ego constructs that we've made, that have created the other, that have put you in a box, that have, laid claim that you can only be this. And when with your spiritual practice, when you go deep into that inner stillness, when you understand that God is all there is, you will only see God. So the spiritual practice allows us to flip the channels, You can see channel 1, but you're not judging from channel 1. You can express and experience channel 2, but you're not judging from channel 2. You get to that understanding of the soul level that this is a unique expression of God, and how fabulous is that? And when you're operating from that place of authenticity, that's the waking up. You're waking up to who you are. You're comfortable without your shoes. You're just standing in the truth of your beingness. No matter what the race consciousness says, no matter what they tell us on television, oh, you should dye your hair. How old are you, girl? You hear all these things on television. And it starts to confine us and constrict us, and then our light, and we go into this darkness. Now, don't get me wrong, the darkness, the fruitful darkness serves its purpose for us sometimes just to like that seed that is growing, it must be in that mystery. The challenges provide opportunities of awakening. We're not going to do a spiritual bypass, but when we stand in the truth of who we are, God as us, then we have opportunities to stand in our truth in those moments and respond and not react. And trust me, I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. That's why they call it a practice and a process. So Ann Purcell talks about inner wakefulness. That consciousness, the way that we express consciousness, to get to that awareness of the soul level, when our consciousness is our awareness, our perceptions, our feelings, ideas, the imaginations, and the thoughts. I say that when you are awake to the awareness of the indwelling presence that is God, that is your life, when you can see God as and through other people, God is showing up in different ways. When you cultivate through your spiritual practice, the consciousness, the awareness, releasing all of the past, all the stories you've been told, cultivating, going deeper into that stillness, deeper into that awareness, deeper into your truth. That inner wakefulness is from the inside out. It's inner. It's not just what we see, but it's inner. You operate from a place of wholeness. You move from a place of understanding the oneness. We use our prayer to align our thoughts in who we are and God expressing as us. So the inner wakefulness is the way that we get to be awake in the world. So this is my guide, Ernest Holmes, Ram Dass had a guru, but this is my guide. I love Ernie. Ernie and I went on, many journeys in consciousness. So when Ram Dass talks about, as you're moving through the inner wakefulness, and then you're moving to the understanding of operating from the soul level, he had a guru. And the devotion wasn't external, but the devotion was so that he could cultivate the awareness, that amazing love. You got to crack open that ego to allow the love to pour forth. So, Ernie, my dear friend Ernie, wrote in Creative Thought, he says, wake up. Your word is all powerful. Your consciousness is one with omnipotence. Your thought is infinite. Your destiny is eternal, and your home is everlasting heaven. Realize the truth. I am living in a perfect universe. It always was perfect and always will be perfect. Now, how many of us heard that growing up? I am living in a perfect universe. It always was perfect and always will be perfect. That does not mean we deny the challenges that we're experiencing, but when we understand that God is all there is, the highest good is expressing, we call forth, we go back not to the condition, we go back to first cause, beauty, joy, love, wisdom, life, peace. We allow ourselves to operate from that when we awaken. And our choices are so powerful from this place. Ernie said, wake up. So when Ernie says, wake up, I said, yes, sir, And so Ernest Holmes takes us, vibrant transparency. I apologize because I saw Ernie over here. So Ann Purcell talks about, so you've got this inner wakefulness. And then all of a sudden, when cultivating your practice, you're aware of your surrounding. You notice the details, and something stirs from within. And all of a sudden, you see flowers. And then you see that they're moving towards the light. But then you see the light that is moving in them. And nature is our perfect mirror to remind us that the light of God is our light. Nature is illuminated. It is that life force that is expressing. When we can see it in nature, imagine the possibilities when we start seeing that in each other. Now, I didn't share any pictures, but my nieces and nephews, I have pictures of them where they are just beaming with love. Beaming with love. When you understand that the joy of your heart is what is that portal that allows you then to see the light that is God, that vibrant transparency, then the world is illuminated. So I'm driving down the freeway, and this dude next to me is singing in his car. I'm like, yeah, go on, you know? I mean, he's just vibrant. He's transparent. Someone shared with me in between the service that he was having a bad day. He's driving down the freeway. He looks to his left, and there's a little kid smiling at him. God showed up in this vibrant transparency. When we allow ourselves to see with eyes that know that it is only God, when we wake up from within, and then we see with eyes that know that it is God, then the world does become lighter and brighter. But it is our spiritual practice that cultivates that going within. So Ernest says inner luminosity, because we don't talk that much about light here. We talk a lot about law. But I want to just, that my life path is about the light and about love, all right? And Ernest says, open the gates of consciousness to the divine presence, and you will be flooded with light. Consciously commune with spirit, and you will receive a direct answer. This answer will always fit your individuality because you are life individualized. You are life individualized. You are the flow of love. You are the flow of bliss. You are the flow of wisdom. You're the flow of peace. You're the flow of joy. You're the flow of all that you seek and desire. But that inner luminosity, that is your divine spark. It's being housed in this holy temple. And how often do we not allow ourselves to understand the sacred? My ministry is called Every Day Sacred because every day, in every way, I see God. I move through my ego stuff, those inner conflicts, those inner battles. But with my spiritual practice, it's what allows me then to move through whatever emotions come up, to cut through it. The sword is not a sword of separation. The sword is to cut through that false belief of duality, that illusion that we're separate, because we're not. When we stop treating other people like the other, we wake up from within. We see the vibrant transparency and then that inner luminosity that is your life not only is shining, but it connects with the life of others. That's enlightenment. Waking up and seeing God, only God, always God. And sometimes God pisses me off, all right? I'm going to be real honest with you. Sometimes, anger's taking over, and I'm mad at this, and I'm mad at that, and I'm mad at this, and then I hear this voice, it's like, really? You know better, But we allow ourselves to be in our sweet humanity. But we use our spiritual practice, spiritual mind treatment, affirmations, but truly meditation. For transcendental meditation, they consider that the master key. Our spiritual practice is the master key to move into that stillness, to allow ourselves to be in that expansive state. This quote from Maharishi I found actually this morning as I was going through his book. Now listen to this, because I've never heard this before. The purpose of life is the expansion of happiness. Life is here to enjoy, and this is the one I loved, and no one has the right to suffer. The purpose of life is the expansion of happiness. Life is here to enjoy, and no one has the right to suffer. Amen. How often have we believed it? Yeah, do we have challenges? Do we suffer? Absolutely. But must we be tied by that? No. The practice then becomes creating heaven on earth. Maharishi says that on a personal level, it will characterize by perfect health and long life and effortless, bliss and desires and a beautiful and ever-fresh, nourishing environment. And then on earth, it's a collective, characterized by collective positivity, harmony, and peace in our family, in our community, in the world. It's a practice. We must cultivate it. Ram Dass says equanimity, which is that mental calmness, that mental stillness, Even in the most disturbing situations, you can only cultivate that through your spiritual practice. Equanimity and love, when you need it, you've got to meditate, reflect more, cultivate the witness consciousness, and open your heart. This is the space for equanimity and love. It's a practice. So I'm going to invite you to turn next to somebody, all right? Now, you can either listen to my prompting, because part of our practice is to actually see God and recognize God and talk to God in a way that you know you're talking to God. So I'm gonna say each line, just say it after me. Look in the person's eyes, say, I see beauty. Say to each other, I see beauty. I see joy. I see love. I see wisdom. The radiant light of God is your life. I am that. You are that. Let's do it again. I see beauty. I see joy. I see love. I see wisdom. The radiant light of God is your life. I am that. Thou art that. All right, one more time together. I see beauty. I see love. I see joy. I see wisdom. The radiant light of God is your life. I am that. Thou art that. Breathe it in. And somebody said breathe it in. I'm sorry. That was me telling you to breathe it in. When we stand in the glory of God, the glorious awakening of our lives as God, when we stand in the knowingness that you can dazzle me with your brilliance because I'm here to support you in that, when we move through the world with such love awakened in the openness of who we are, God is all there is. Can you imagine what the world would look like? Can you imagine? Can you look in the mirror every morning and say, God, you're looking good. Thank you. As you're driving down the street, not that you're picking people up, all right? But you're driving down the street, it's like, God, you're looking fine. Can you just look out in the world and see the way that God shows up? Imagine the happiness. Deepak Chopra says this, and I loved it. Let's see if I can find it. I moved all my papers. Hold that thought. Awakening states of all areas of life, including the happiness of being alive, allows us to tap into universal force that keeps the cosmic dance going and invites you to join. Maharishi, the unity consciousness. In unity consciousness, what prevails is the infinite value of life. Perception of the relative, listen to the dancers, perception of the relative dances, sings, rejoices, and glorifies itself in the value of the infinite. Music originates where unity starts to swing in the bliss of unbounded existence. Imagine singing your soul song. Imagine, because that's the song of God, imagine listening to the cosmic symphony that is God, not only in this room, but in the world. Imagine if we let our ego down, we let those identities down, we stand in the presence of God, we open our heart, and in that opening of our heart, we hear the one in such amazing ways. Imagine what the world would look like. So I'm going to invite you to put your ego over here, okay? And if you're uncomfortable, be in the discomfort. I want you to wake up. I want to see you in your brilliance. I want you to dazzle me with your gifts. I want you to know your magnificence, and not for me, because we become those rays of light in the world, and it is necessary. But for the next 4 minutes, I invite you to stand up. I want you to see God in this video, but I want you to know that the happiness that Maharishi talks about, Ram Dass talks about, Deepak talks about, Ernest Holmes talks about, Veronica Valles talks about, is right here. So as Kip gets the video going, breathe in. Y'all, see that, but we can do our best to wake up and move into that. To celebrate life. To all those dancing, for y'all to stand up and move and groove, allowing God to be. So breathe that in. So the reminder, we wake up because we're coming home to God. It is always God. It is only God. No beginning, no end. Now and forevermore. Through inner wakefulness, vibrant transparency, and inner luminosity, even when we're sweating. It's God. I invite you to just go within, let's just take a deep breath, and let's just go into this beautiful field of the infinite love. Breathing into this prayer field, this absolute recognition of the oneness, the wholeness, the fabulousness of God that is fully expressed, orbed, the light of the one right here, right now. I am absolutely clear of the oneness, the wholeness, the love, the peace, the wisdom that is forever expressing, experiencing itself in, through, but as life. All of life, the beauty of the poppies, the beauty of the flowers in my mother's garden, the beauty of the light that's here in this world, in this room, and in our lives, to our children, our partners, our beloveds, the people we meet that we may not know, but we stand in the presence of God. God is all there is. And as I know this truth that my life is a magnificent expression, I stand here in the knowingness of the authentic expression of God that is each person here. God as you, as me, as we. It's in this full knowingness that I realize and accept this truth as we wake up. Wake up to that divine infinite knowingness, that deep inner stillness, the self that expresses in our life in the delicious way, in the prickly ways, in the knowingness that God is just all that there is. Even in the shadows and the darkness, God is there. And just knowing that as we embrace our divinity, allow our light to shine in the world, that indeed we wake up to the fullness and the wholeness, and we sing our soul song, our unique song of the one that is our very life. And together we become this cosmic symphony, like the constellations in the sky, the light of the one, and our very verse, our very hymns, our very life, our very life. So I celebrate all this, grateful for each one who has said yes to the awakening, yes to living their life as a spiritual practice, yes to being who they are so magnificently. And it's in that holy, sacred yes that I give thanks for the awareness, for the word, for the gratitude of all that there is that is God, for each person here standing fully in their infinite beauty and infinite light. And so as we just breathe into the spaciousness with our hearts wide open, allowing our hearts to lead the way. I call this so beautiful, releasing this word in the divine activity of the law. I call it so perfect. I call forth the light in every moment and the love that awakens us, and I call it so good. And knowing that it is ignited within us, take a breath, exhale, and together let's affirm it by saying, and so it is.
Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through.
Petra Weldis, Senior Minister of the Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas, and we're delighted that you found us here on the web. You can find our Sunday services on our website by every Wednesday. And we love that you can look at us online and explore these spiritual teachings. Feel free to explore our archives. It goes back a number of years with lots of special topics and amazing speakers. You can also sign up for our email news, My Daily Words, and my blog, Spiritual Living with Dr. Petra. If you're looking for a spiritual community, come visit us. Or if you're just in Dallas, drop on by. We'd love to give you a hug. Welcome home.